Is your club fully hosted on the district website? We're going to talk about ClubRunner today. The version I'm going to be talking about today is for clubs that are fully hosted on the district website. These are clubs that do not have their own club subscription to ClubRunner, but are hosted on the district website. If that's you, then you're in the right place. And if not, please go to the club executive training for clubs that have their own accounts with ClubRunner, version A of this session. At this point, I'm going to assume that you know how to log into ClubRunner because you've watched my segment on how to log into ClubRunner and why. And so since you already know how to log in, I'm going to go over and log in on the district website, and we'll take it from there. So come with me and we'll do it. So here we are on Rotary7910.org. And I want you to look at the top left corner at the URL. This is the Universal Resource Locator. It's actually the web address of this web page. Notice that it says we're at Rotary7910.org. And now if I click on Member Login, I'm going to log into the website as John Public, who is an executive of the Demo Club, a little club that I created on the district website to show you how it behaves for a club that's fully hosted on the website. So John Public, I put in his name and his password, and we're going to log in. So we've logged into John's account. You can see Welcome John Public up here at the top right. And over on the left, I want you to take a look at the URL, the Universal Resource Locator, and notice that we're no longer on Rotary7910.org here, but rather we're on a server owned by ClubRunner in Canada, and we're at the admin level. This is a number that's been assigned by ClubRunner to the district. It is not anything that's relevant to Rotary. It's specifically an administrative number assigned by ClubRunner. So now we're in John's account. John's an executive of the club, and he's been granted the executive privileges by the district. If you find that you can't do any of the functions I talk about here, please contact the district to get your privileges upgraded. So we're going to look at this section called Clubs and Membership Management. And the first thing we're going to do is click Clubs and Membership. On the district, you will see the entire list of clubs that belong to the district. And we're going to come down to our club, which is the Demo Club. The X just means that it's not synchronizing with Rotary International for obvious reasons, because it's a demo, it's not a real club. But over here, we can see the options that you have available. You can see the executives, the club information, the club logo, the members, the users, and inactive members, and you get to delete this whole club if you wanted to, but please don't do that. Okay. So let's look first at the club information, and we'll check and make sure that that's correct. So here's the club information for the Demo Club. If you put in all this information, including its website address, if it has one, and email account and phone. And these will become public. I'll show you in a minute. So it's best to put an email that belongs to the club and not someone's personal email. Putting someone's personal email on the web is inviting a lot of spam. So best not to do that. Similarly with the phone, it could be abused. So you don't want to put someone's personal phone number on the internet. On the right-hand side, we put the location and the time. This club meets Sundays at 7, why not? And if it meets in a restaurant or something, you would put the restaurant's name here and address so that the mapping system could help people find you and come to you. It actually does provide that information. Now, why are we doing this? In part to make sure that the identification information is known to the district, but also in part because this is going to synchronize with Rotary International. And so let me show you how that works. So I'm going to rotary.org, and on the homepage for rotary.org, there is a choice called Club Finder. So let's click on Club Finder and see how it behaves. Here on Club Finder, we get to search for a club, and it's not so much the name of the club, but usually where you want to find a club. And you could find a club anywhere in the world for all that. If you're on a trip, look for one in France or look for one in Morocco. But right now I'm going to look for one in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. So here's Fitchburg, Massachusetts. And what's the radius within which you want to find a club? 25 kilometers will be fine, or I could measure it in miles and say 10 miles, please. And I could cite what type of club, what meeting day of the week, or format, or language. All of that can be very helpful. But for right now, let's just look for a club within 10 miles of Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Search. And it's found several, including two that are actually in Fitchburg, Fitchburg East and a Fitchburg club. One meets in the evenings. This is military time, so that's 6:15 in the evenings. And one meets at noon on Wednesdays. It's in English language, and there's the contact information. So if you click on one of these, you'll see laid out in a different way the information that we just saw in the club information for your club. So this is also a club that's fully hosted on the district, which is why I chose to look here. And you can see that it's pulled that same information that we just looked at on the district website and has plugged that information in this format on the rotary.org website, the international website, where people can look if they're visiting your town. So that information is used both locally for the district and synchronizes to the international site so that people can find your club. Now let's go back to the district website where your club is hosted. And I could go back to that main menu, which I find by going admin, admin new, and that brings us to that main menu. The other way to find it is to go to for clubs, because you have all the things available in for clubs. So here we're going to first look at the membership list. These are the members of the demo club. And if I click on one of these, I will see more information about that member. So here's Jane with her picture. This is pulling from her profile. Remember when we first learned how to log into ClubRunner, we said that each person should update their profile. So now you can see that as the administrator, you can see the profiles of everybody in your club, including their contact information, whatever contact information is put in for her. Now, also under for clubs, we'll see define club executives. So let's take a look at that. Here's the list of club executives for the demo club. The first thing to look at is the year at the top here. This is for 2023 to 24. If I wanted to see who were the officers in the previous year, I'd click here and it'll go there. This club was just created, so there's nothing there, but you go to a previous year or the next year and you can see the roster of executives for the club. Notice that Susan Executive is the president, and there are two columns of titles here. There's the position and there's the title. So a very important thing to remember, just sort of engrave this in your brain, that positions are defined by the district and titles are defined by the club. Let me show you more about what that means. Position tells the district and Rotary International what role is being held by a particular person. And the ones that we really need you to fill out the most are in capital letters. So president, president-elect, vice president, secretary, treasurer, foundation chair, membership chair. These are all important functions in the club. And if the district or RI would like to send, for example, to all the foundation chairs in all the various clubs, we're going to look for who's holding this particular position. Now, the titles are defined by the club. So, for example, here we have the PR webmaster, social media chair, but this club is calling that the website administrator. It's a much more friendly rendition of that role. So we look in a list, in the list of executives that's published for human consumption, we're going to be looking at the titles. But these code words in the position column are the ones that the district or Rotary International will look at in order to find the person in your club who's fulfilling a particular role. So if I want to send to all the secretaries, I send to secretaries. So let me show you one more thing. In some of our clubs, there are multiple people fulfilling a particular role, like there are two co-presidents. So let's pretend there are two co-presidents of this club, and let's add a new position, and I'm going to look for the president. But there is no president in this list. So why is that? And the reason is that Rotary International only recognizes one person as the president. If we put a second person as the president, their assumption is that this second person is replacing the first person for the remainder of the year. Well, that's not what we want to achieve here. So at the district level, we've defined a position called co-president. So I'm going to add Paul McIntosh as our co-president. So we have Susan as the president and Paul as the co-president. In most cases, this is not intended to be a hierarchy. They're really intended to be the same, but Rotary is only going to communicate with the president. The district will also communicate with the co-presidents. So, but you have to have someone listed as president per se in order to get the communications intended for presidents. Now, because the club controls the titles, I can actually edit the title for Susan to be co-president, not just president. And what that does is it makes them equal in the eyes of the humans who are looking at our nice list intended for human consumption. Whereas here we have the codes that tell Rotary that Susan should get the messages intended for presidents, and the district will also communicate with Paul. I hope that makes sense. So again, the positions are defined by the district and the title is defined by the club. You can have anything you want to here in the title column, but these code names must be chosen from the drop-down list. Now you'll also notice that Jane, for example, has her name in 3 different places. She's the vice president, so she'll be the president 2 years from now. She's the secretary, and she's the executive secretary. An executive secretary is a privilege level, a little one notch beyond secretary in the Rotary.org website. It really doesn't have any other relevance to a club of your size. So, but you do need to plug a name in there just to make sure Jane gets those additional privileges from Rotary.org. So the reason that we're putting Jane's name in 3 places is that she's going to get messages intended for vice presidents, she'll get the message intended for secretaries, and she'll get the privileges attendant to an executive secretary. So it's really just signaling. These are, again, codes that signal the district or Rotary International that she's the one who should get all that communication. Similarly, Julie is the membership chair. She's also the public image chair, and she takes care of the website. And this is, again, just signaling to the district and Rotary International that she should get all of those relevant communications. Let me just show you for a second why that's important. So what I've done is I've logged out of John's account and logged into my own account on the district, where I do have the privileges to use the email services. So here, if I compose a new email message, it gives me the option of sending this message to the district executives, to the club executives, the directors, to various custom lists that we've created. But look at the way you could break down communications to the club. So if I expand that, I could send to all the presidents in the district, I could send to all the treasurers in the district. Look at this list. It's the same list that we saw in the drop-down list. So these are the positions that were defined by the district. And no matter what you call that person in the title field, just like we saw Julie is the public image chair and the webmaster, we can find her because of these codes. Okay, so the codes are important to the district to facilitate communications, and many of them, not all of them, but many of them are also used by Rotary International to communicate with the right person in your club. So you can see that you can perform a lot of the important functions while you're fully hosted on the district website. However, there are a lot of additional functions in ClubRunner that you do not get to take advantage of because you don't have your own account. As your club grows, I think you will want to at least explore the possibilities on ClubRunner. They actually have a 30-day free trial that you can do to discover if and when you might want to move to ClubRunner. But some people look at ClubRunner as just a way to create a website, and it's a lot more than that. It is our way of communicating with the district and with Rotary International, and also allowing us to roll up those statistics. How many people are in your club? What's the average age in your club? So that we can see what we have achieved and what we might do better, and how we can all work together to do good things in the world. So thank you for participating in the ClubRunner family of clubs, and we look forward to working with you on many new projects. Thank you very much.